welcome to my channel today. I'm Tara with Pieces of Tara Artistry. Thank you for being here. I have some kind of exciting news that I want to share with you guys. Some of you may already know this, but I've been asked to be an instructor at the Fluid Art Experience in Dallas, Texas this July 20th through 23rd. So I'm pretty excited about that. And one of the techniques that I will be teaching is the Dutch pour. So today I wanted to show you guys kind of my thought process, what I'm using for pouring mediums, and just kind of walk you through what I usually do with a Dutch pour. And yeah, so I'm pretty excited. The Fluid Art Experience this year is going to have the Masse Art Studios, Kathleen Osmore, Cause Creation, Sarah Taylor Modern Art, Garrett Brown Art, and myself and Marcy from Mixed Media Girl. So really excited to be with those guys and to really get a chance to teach these techniques that I really love. So I hope you guys can join us, and there'll be a lot more information to come, but I just wanted to share that with you guys, and I'm going to get you down now to the Dutch pour so that you can see how I made this guy. All right, y'all. Okay guys, like I said in my intro, I'm going to be doing the Dutch pour today, and my recipe for all of these paints is here on the screen. All of my paints are mixed exactly the same. Now this paint here is a kind of an off-white. I've been commissioned to do a 3 foot by 4 foot Dutch pour in neutral colors, and so if you guys watch me, you know that it's a little bit outside my comfort zone. I don't normally work in neutral colors, but I was up for the challenge. So I was just kind of playing around with some different colors that I thought that my client would like. Now, this color I just put down is Burnt Sienna by Golden Fluids. I've never worked with this color, you guys, but it's gorgeous. Like in person, it was so pretty. I was like surprised because when you look at it inside the tube, it's very dark. But when you put it in the cup and you mix it, it's a little bit lighter than what I had anticipated. So I took that color and then I added white, a little bit of white to it, and I got this color. It's just a little bit lighter shade of that Burnt Sienna. And I love it. I love it. And in between there is like a champagne color from Rust-Oleum, which is really pretty. I like to put a metallic in there, and I like to layer it towards the bottom because when you layer metallics low, you get more cell action than if you layer it on top, because normally the metallics are lighter in density, and so the other paints that are heavier are going to sink, and then that lighter paint is going to pop to the top. So I like to layer the metallics lower so that I get that cell reaction. And so I added in a little pop of black because that was something that they wanted in there, just a little bit of black with these neutral colors. And I have to say, I was really, really in love with these colors. I have a very new appreciation for neutrals, and you know, neutral doesn't have to be beige. It doesn't have to be blah. It just, you know, these more earthy tones, they're really fun. So with my Dutch pours, I like to take that base paint and add it to the sides of my lines, and then instead of blowing the paint over top, I like to push the base paint up against those colors, kind of smushing those colors together a little bit. I feel like I get more control when I blow things out, and I feel like the colors meld together better. There is some mixing of the colors, but it's not overly mixed, so it's dulled or muddied. That makes sense. So I really like the blowout on this one. I love how that black line is kind of in like a half circle. I think it just really gives really beautiful movement to this piece. And you'll notice that on my Dutch pours, normally I don't just blow out a petal, a petal, a petal, and then it's done. I usually try to work with the composition a little bit and try to move kind of some of this edge paint, the edges of these Dutch pours, out a little bit. So I, instead of like, trying to go over the Dutch pour again to stretch it out, just push it from the ends. Take your blow dryer and push the paint. And if it doesn't move, then you may want to add just a little bit more base paint at the edge of those, on those edges of the Dutch pour, and try and blow it that way. I promise you'll get movement and it'll create a more wispy effect on the edges. Or you can do what I'm doing here. I just get down in it and start blowing with my mouth. I like to have some different, I don't know, like sort of wispiness and some edges to my Dutch pours. I know that's not for everybody, but this is what I like to do. So I'm showing you, how to achieve those results by using your mouth to blow. And you can do so much, with a composition to the Dutch pour even after you've blown it out. Getting some movement, getting some of these wispies like I'm getting here. Yeah, and it doesn't have to just be, all these petals. There can be, some little bit harder edges or just outside the box. Not all our Dutch pours have to look exactly the same. And that's basically what I'm trying to get at, is everybody has their own style. Everybody has what they like, and there's no wrong way to do this. It's your art and you get to make it whatever you want. This is just kind of the way that I prefer to do it. And I really have fun doing this. I love the Dutch pour. I think that it's beautiful. I think that it's very ethereal. And yeah, I just really had a lot of fun with this one. So yeah, so I'm showing you different angles here. I tried to get so you could see how I was blowing, because otherwise you would have seen a lot of my head. And I like also that if you don't like, a portion of, your Dutch pour, don't be afraid to like get your fingers in it and, maybe take your finger and pull out different areas or make kind of wispies with your fingers. Get your palette knife out. I do have a cell there that I'm not super fond of, like right in the middle. It's a black cell that you're going to see me later get my palette knife out and kind of stretch that, make it a little wispier. And yeah, so I'm sorry for the times that you're seeing my head. It's because I didn't really have a good angle on my other camera. But I really do, I just love this technique. And what's cool about this technique is that you can use so many different pouring mediums to get the same result. So the pouring medium that I prefer, and I kind of stumbled upon it quite a while ago, is the 50% Floetrol, 50% GAC 800, and then paint. And a lot of times I use fluid paints. And when I use the fluid paints with that 50% 50 Floetrol, 50 GAC mix, I don't ever have to add water. And so it's easy. I like it. I like to be able to work with easy. And it really is the measuring block for the rest of my paints. So here you see me using my finger, and then I wasn't really working with my finger, so I got my palette knife out, and it's kind of just moving the paint a little bit to get the composition that I want out of this one. So you saw me also a minute ago working on my edges. It's really important to get your edges before they start drying, because you will get some drips. Paint does move and stretch a little bit. You'll get kind of weird drips. So you want to continuously pull the paint off of the bottom with your finger, scrape your edges, and then also just make sure that your edges are all touched up really nice. I use a little bottle with my base paint in it, and I just run it across the top edge of my canvas and let it run down the side, and just kind of use my finger to make sure that it's all smooth. So you also see here right now, I'm using my little torch. I'm going over areas in that white where I can see that there's some of that metallic paint underneath. So I'm just very, very lightly torching those areas to see if I can get any of that metallic to pop through. And it does actually work. It brought out some really cool lacing. Now here's what I was saying earlier with getting these kind of wispier parts. I didn't like how that part right there looked kind of bubbled. So I added a little bit of base paint, and unfortunately you can't really see how I'm doing this, but I'm just kind of blowing it out so that those edges of those wispies are more lines. And it's not quite like a bubble. There's no, it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's lines instead of a bubble. Anyways, so you'll see it in the final dry results how it looks, but I really like that look. I think it looks very ethereal. So here is the wet results. You can see all these cells are popping through. Those colors underneath are really beautiful. That burnt sienna with that's the raw, or that burnt sienna that is has nothing mixed in. It's really pretty. And then with that burnt sienna with the white added to it, that lighter shade is just gorgeous. Like, you guys, it's so pretty. And then really cool density cells from that black popping through. So I'm going to show you the dry results here. It dried just exactly the way I left it. You see just the burnt sienna did darken just a little bit, but I'm not mad about it. I think it looks really pretty. And I think it's the flow on this one is really, really pretty. So you guys will have to let me know what you think. If you like what you're seeing, please definitely like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you're notified each time I put out a new painting or a new video. And if you guys ever have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to answer any questions. And if it's possible, please check us out at the Fluid Art Experience. Tickets go on sale on May 1st. So, all right, guys, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. And I will see you on the next one. Bye, guys.